Commenting started at 2:47 this morning. It is now 11:28. It hasn't stopped since. Slowed down to about once every 5 seconds, even as much as once every 10 seconds for a while. It also shifted to shouting, like they were standing in the house while the house was crowded, from the electronic type of sound. And then it became shouting to the rest of the people in the room what I was doing in my room repeatedly throughout their visit. You could hear very, very loudly from my room. You could hear about as loudly as you can hear Penny shouting from the hallway while I'm in my room. It's a variety of different types of voices they make. You can tell how they sound different from the method they're using to make the sound changing. For example, talking into a long-range acoustic device and projecting it into our home from next door, and then turning it off, going outside and standing next to my bedroom window and then shouting the comment, then going back inside of the house and turning on the long-range acoustic device and beginning to repeat the sound they create 90% to 100% of the time, where they force me to hear them saying the cruelest possible verbal abuse statements. These are said 25,000 times a day, including statements like, they're going to kill my family, they're going to rob my house, hit me with a car, poison my food, they're going to frame me. Then they criticize and exploit, threaten, slander, degrade, interrupt, and shout the entire day long. This is projected into our home from directly next door. They're also being aided and abetted by the police, multiple other surrounding houses here. They've been doing this throughout North Natomas, Sacramento, California at 95835. These people are committing attempted murder through torture. This is a style of torture where they do a prolonged assault. These individuals threatened identity theft. They threatened to kill my dog. They usually make about 1 in 10 assault in the first degree comments out of 25,000 per day, which they did for over 10 years. They slander around 15,000 times a day. They did this out of 25,000 comments or more per day for 4 years in 2009 through 2014, stopping in January 6th. Football season. It only stopped for a very short amount of time, half an hour, once or twice throughout the day, or less, sometimes never. These statements continue inside of the classroom at the college. They're heard with earplugs on in all locations at all times. It's an extremely violent attack. Often you'll hear them switch into their police dispatcher mode, I call it, where these individuals start saying the cruelest possible things that you can say to a woman and insulting her about the activities she's doing in the privacy of the bathroom or her bedroom, normal activities. They talk to the woman about what she's doing, like they have a hidden camera in the house, but they don't tell her where the camera is. They tell her they are watching her, but they don't tell her how or where, or when or why or anything. They tell her as they're watching her that they're watching her by describing what she is doing, through expressing their anger and claiming she has done something wrong. This is done through shouting with a crying and nagging inflection repeatedly throughout the entire day long, where they describe everything she does, saying that there's something wrong with it and there's something wrong with her. Then they claim they don't want her to do things. They start describing everything she does as something they don't want her to do, she's not allowed to do. They begin threatening, They start threatening, criticizing, assaulting in the first degree, conspiring to burglarize the house, bullying, insulting, slandering repeatedly, conspiring to murder, conspiring to burglarize us, conspiring to hurt our children, conspiring to hurt the dog, conspiring to hit us with the car, telling stories in their conspiracies. For example, telling me I'm never allowed to drive a car that looks new. If I do, they're going to hit me when I go out in public with their vehicle. This is the level of hatred and cruelty in the comments at all times. They started cleaning this up around the time I met Peter, which was November 9, 2019. They do this from directly next door to the left and the right. They started this in 2009. It's about June, July. It started the day I moved in. Usually slander 15,000 times a day. That was particularly bad during the first 4 years. After the first 4 years, it reduced quite a bit and continued from then until now. Only in the past about 3 to 4 years has it reduced again quite a bit, by about 90% again. They lie about all of these things when you talk to them. All of the attention they show is negative. It's only negative. All of the comments they make are negative and only negative. They sometimes will switch to narrating by describing repeatedly for hours at a time in a neutral tone. I believe this is a cover so they can continue to make the noise without it looking like the only things they say are negative. All of the comments are attempts at talking the individual into suicide. They conspire usually the entire day, every day, with the information collected through hacking. They verbally confess to all of these crimes and engage in these crimes with police. Again, this was reported to the police in 2012. They've done nothing about it. The police are engaged in committing felonies against me through stalking. They're stalking by monitoring. It is heinous aggravated mayhem. This is Sacramento, California, North Natomas, 95835. This took place on Wadsworth Way between 2009 and 2023. My parents packed up and moved today. She has been talking to my parents the way she talks to me for around 9 years. She manages my business about 75% of the time through arguing and threatening.